Mario and I still buzzing after that brilliant win last night at BMO Stadium. Hello, everyone. This is LAFC Plus. He's Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm. We are a part of the radio broadcast team on the English-speaking side for LAFC. And what a broadcast it was, but what a game, more importantly. LAFC winning in the first leg of that quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions Cup 1-0 over Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. Mario, you were in the thick of it. What a night you had, too, as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, buzzing is the right word. You just described it right there, Dave. What a night at BMO Stadium last night. And I think that is what Los Angeles is all about, really, in my opinion. Just like being the hottest ticket in town, having the biggest names in the world of soccer, with Messi there, one of the greatest ever to do it, of course. World Cup winners on the pitch, and Hugo Lloris, Giroud's there available on the bench. And then the list of celebrities that are in the building. You got Kendall Kardashian, Steph Curry, Becky G, Chuck Liddell, Fuerza Regida. Rams players were there. This is what LA is about. It's about being the city of stars and the city of champions, but it's also about not just being in the big games, but also winning them when the world is watching. That's what LA is about. So big respects to LAFC on that performance last night against Inter Miami.
Yeah, it really was amazing. Now, normally we like to look ahead. We'll do a lot of that here on this episode of LAFC Plus, but certainly the game is just so fresh coming off of it, and it means something going forward because it's a two-leg tie. We'll start there. Job not done. We're at halftime with a 1-0 lead, and that is tremendous because, if you're wondering, CONCACAF Champions Cup has not gone the way of the Champions League in Europe. The away goals still count. So the lack of an away goal for Inter Miami is a big factor. Yes, it's a 1-0 win. It's only a one-goal win, whatever you want. Certainly Inter Miami's still in it, but they did not score at our place, and that is massive because, Mario, if LAFC can grab a goal, we'll talk about that later, then it puts the pressure on Miami to win by 2 goals, not just the one. Stellar defense from everybody on the pitch last night for LAFC, Mario. Doesn't mean it was perfect, of course. You're never going to play a perfect match. Just ask any manager. But boy, Mario, they defended as one all over the pitch last night to get that 1-0 victory.
Yeah, the squad really performed well as a team, as a unit, and that's what you need when you go up against a star-studded team like Inter Miami is, with all those dangerous players that they have. It was very heated. It was intense type of match, but they stood their ground, right? And stuck to the game plan, which shut down Messi. Besides those fouls that were outside the penalty area, which resulted in good chances, good free kick opportunities there for Messi, it really wasn't any other action there for Miami. There was not really any chance for Miami. It was a dominant performance defensively. That was just, in my opinion, that's one of those classic Steve Cherundolo style dominant wins for LAFC over just one of the most talented teams in the region, if not the most talented, deepest team in the region.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Just a tremendous performance. And look, what does that mean in the sense that, not perfect, couple of set pieces that really shouldn't be given up, but there's a reason guys like Lionel Messi, well, there's not many guys like Lionel Messi, there's one. There's a reason he draws those kind of, free kicks, and not penalties in this case, but dangerous free kick, because he's that smooth and that quick and that good, and you're occasionally going to be a little late, you have to limit those, no doubt. And they did to a certain extent. They weren't what you don't want to do in those situations, and no disrespect to these other players. You don't want to foul Robert Taylor 18 yards from goal. You don't want to foul even Luis Suarez 22 yards from goal. Just get on him, right? Because obviously Messi's going to take the free kick. So those are the ones you really can't give away. If Messi's going to burn you from 23 yards, he's going to draw some of those occasionally, unfortunately. That's just how good he is. You don't want to give them to the guys who you don't need to respect quite that much, frankly. And I'm no disrespect to Luis Suarez. You know what I mean? Like, if he's 24 yards with his back to goal, you don't want to chop down Luis Suarez there. And they did better of that. Again, Messi drew a few, and he's going to do that. But, I'll tell you what, Mario, they talk about sports being like a game of inches, there's everything it's millimeters at times. And Nathan Ordaz. What a night. The guy, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to backpedal now. You can, if you had a copy of the broadcast last night, if you heard it, you'll know what I'm going to say. But if you didn't, I thought he should have been red carded. That was my view. I didn't have great replays, to be honest. So I didn't necessarily maybe have the best. Maybe I'm wrong. But
I was right there nervous with you, Dave. Don't worry.
Let's put it this way. I thought he was going to be red carded. I thought he deserved it, but I especially thought it was going to happen. Whether he deserved it or not, I thought, O'Shea Nation called over to VAR, Mario. This is not going to be good. And LAFC caught a break. And then he makes Inter Miami pay on a golazo. Talk about that goal. This kid is he's improving every week.
Yeah, I think we were just so shocked that he actually decided to hit that one from that distance. I mean, I think the goalkeeper was shocked as well. Everybody in the stadium was shocked as well because it had to be perfect. It had to be, he had to curl it a little bit, he had to bend it a little bit, but he hit it just so hard with so much pace. I didn't think it was going to curl because usually you have to kind of finesse it a little bit to give it that little bend. But for some reason, he also talked about that after the game. He talked about how the balls that they're using in this CONCACAF tournament is very different from an MLS ball and different from any other ball that they're used to. It kind of has a certain movement to it. So that's interesting too. And I saw the movement on the replay.
Yeah, I agree. And before we actually go on further in the rundown, let's take a listen to this and then hear from Nathan Ordaz. Mario got an interview with him on the pitch. But here's the Ordaz goal, as you heard on the radio call on 710 ESPN.
7th minute. Into the middle, Delgado. Back to the center circle, Aaron Long. Delgado on the ground. Good pass. Great turn by Ordaz. Racing towards the 18. Shot from 22 and in! Ordaz has scored. It's a golazo! Oh, Nathan Ordaz in the 57th minute has lit the lamp for LAFC! What a turn, opening space, and found the near post with the right foot, Nathan Ordaz. From a good distance out, beats the diving Ustari, it's 1-0. His second goal of this competition in his second start and fourth appearance. Ordaz has given LAFC the 1-0 lead. Now into the 58th minute, the black and gold at home have the advantage.
Great goal and a great call from you, Dave. And
thank you.
I think with that goal from Nathan Ordaz, I think he might have just punched his ticket to play into the 2026 World Cup. I mean, if El Salvador qualify for the World Cup, you don't think they've been keeping an eye on Nathan? They have been.
Yeah, he's
been playing. He's been getting some time. Yeah, with the national team and with LAFC. LAFC is a star-studded team as well. So for him to be starting in a lot of matches, that says a lot for Nathan and what he's doing and how he's improved in 2025. And he won Young Player of Nations League tournament a couple weeks ago for El Salvador. That kind of went under the rug. A lot of people didn't see that one, but he's really doing his thing right now. So he may have punched his ticket to the World Cup in 2026 if he keeps playing like this.
If El Salvador could qualify, that's certainly not a guarantee by any means, but they'll have an opportunity, no doubt, and he's going to be a big part of that setup going forward. I agree. 21 years old, Mario. Everybody forgets this because he's kind of been around for a little while now, right? They hasn't had a lot of experience at the top level. He's played at LAFC 2 a lot too, but he's got his fair share of looks going into this season. Here's Ordaz with Mario on the pitch after the match. This is the post-match interview.
The hero of tonight's match, the man of the match, the game winner from Nathan Ordaz. Describe that goal. At what point did you decide, I'm going to go ahead and hit this one?
Yeah, I turned on the ball and I didn't really see any runs, and if nobody's going to pressure me, I might as well shoot it, right? And I know these balls fly weird. It's not the same as like an MLS ball, so I just let it fly and thank God it went in. All glory to God, It moved enough where the keeper, I don't think he expected it, and yeah, it went in. Thank God.
I don't think many expected that one. Yeah. It did get heated out there. How would you describe the performance of LAFC tonight in this one?
Yeah, we were rowdy. We fought. We're dogs, so we stayed calm. We did everything together, and if you do everything together, you're gonna win games.
Another 90 minutes to go in Miami. What's it gonna take to knock them out in leg 2?
Moving as a group, defending as one. The guy next to you dying for you, and running for you hard, and we're gonna do that. We're trying to move into the semifinals, and it's gonna happen.
Congrats on the win here tonight.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, so like before
stuff,
this interview,
yeah.
Dave, whenever the PR staff brought Nathan over to me, shout out to Seth Byrne and Danny Sanchez out there, the PR staff, incredible staff there at LAFC. They brought
Great
him over
job.
to me a little sooner than what I expected, right? Because they said he's going to do some interviews and we'll bring him to you. So he comes to me and we were in commercial on the radio broadcast. So he had to just kind of like chill there for about 20, 30 seconds with me before we went live with the interview. And he was just coming down from his high. I could tell that things were sinking in because we had to pause, right? He had to just chill there for 20, 30 seconds. And he kind of just sat there, was realizing what just happened. And then he go before we went on the air, before we went on the microphone, he's like, bro, that was Messi, bro. Freaking Messi, bro. And I was like, yeah, man, congrats. I gave him a hug, slapped high five with him. And then we went live with the interview. But what a night for Nathan Ordaz. Incredible.
Yeah, it really was. And it hit him. It hits a lot of people after, wow, that's Messi, you know? And I don't blame him. He's 21. And again, I love his attitude, not because here's the thing about Ordaz. If you've been around sports like we have, and I've been around professional sports athletes for 40 years almost, 35, maybe too many years, but he doesn't have the fake confidence, but it borderlines on cocky, but it's not like, it's hard to explain, but you know it when you see it in the sense that it's not the fake confidence where some guys trying to fake it till they make it kind of thing, where they don't, they don't really have it. But it's not the cockiness to where he wears it poorly in a sense. Like he wears his confidence well. Yeah. And he doesn't overdo it, but it's there.
He's been wearing that confidence since LAFC 2. I remember when he was with LAFC 2, he was always kind of like strutting around with that confidence. I don't know, it's just a demeanor that he has. And you know who else has
I heard
that?
Stories since before he signed with LAFC. This guy he's a great talent. There's no doubt about it.
Another youngster on LAFC 2, Jude Terry. He kind of has a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
A little bit of that confidence. I love that.
And it's not unwarranted. That's the thing. He's growing. I mean, some guys take a leap at 18 years old. Some guys don't take a leap till they're 28 years old or 24 or 20. Now he's 21, and certainly we saw, good play from him and talent, no question, and development, if you will, over the last couple of seasons. But it's clicking here, And this is not development anyway. He's not the finished product by any means. He's still 21. But it's not like he's like starry-eyed just getting here. Kind of, he's had time to settle, and this is who Nathan Ordaz is. This is not a fluke. Yeah. This isn't a little 3-game run where somebody gets hot. He's that talented, and you're starting to see the confidence getting there, no question. Not that it always wasn't there, but it's matching up to the talent now, the confidence and the abilities and what he's learning and translating them onto the pitch. That has to match up for young players. And
Chirundolo looks like a freaking genius, right? Not only for that rock solid defense that shut down Messi, one of the greatest of all time, of course, we know that, but choosing Nathan Ordaz, right, to start in this one. I mean, he really, really had options. He has really good options. Giroud was on the bench that night. Could have went with David Martinez maybe to start up top. Could have maybe put Bawanga there up top. But it's obvious how much confidence that Steve has shown in Nathan, and that's so good. It's got to feel so good for Nathan Ordaz.
No doubt about it. And that was a golazo because Nathan kind of talked a little bit about it where he had to kind of sneak it past. And as I watch, if you get a chance to get a replay of it, as I saw the replays, as they were showing them right after the goal, one of them is from behind. I was talking to Mario about this earlier. And he's a wider out than I thought he looked as you're watching the match, and I'm calling it just a little bit. It's not like so dramatic, but he had to sneak that inside that near post. It's like you had to place that thing. If you're just blasting this, it's probably going to be 5-10 feet wide at least onto the near side. I mean, missing. He kind of knew what he was doing right away. And I'll tell you what, look, Busquets was not in the greatest position to try to take the ball away from him. But there was no way Ordaz was letting him have it either. He burned Busquets on that play and left him in the dust. And what a turn. That's when you heard my call. Like the turn is what really set the whole thing up. Yeah. But I liked hearing that Ordaz was looking for the pass, right? He's looking for the run from his teammates because he
Not
knows
there.
he's going to go into he knows he's heading into the teeth of the center of defense. So if he can hit somebody on a better run, he looks for that quickly, but then he realizes, no, I'm the option here. And oh, what an option it was. Just brilliant goal.
I talked with Timmy Tillman after the match as well, and he also talked about how proud he is for Nathan and how much Nathan deserves this. He came into he came in from the offseason just ready to go, And I also spoke with Sergi Palencia. Actually was pretty blunt. He actually said, last year the squad kind of used to joke with him like being the laziest guy. He's like the laziest guy, but he had all the talent in the world. But this offseason, he made an amazing change. An amazing change is what Palencia said. And, now he's putting in all the hard work and everybody sees it, and it's actually paid off for Nathan.
See, this 16 minutes here is exactly why you should listen to LAFC Plus and tell your LAFC friends and fans, your MLS,
Plus.
Not just because that's the insight right there that you're not getting right anywhere else. That's the insight. That's what you hear. Sergi Palencia said that on the post-game show. I was a little surprised. It was great.
I was surprised too, yeah.
It was honest and real. And even Timmy Tillman followed it up, not knowing what Sergi said, but, following up how they were so pumped for what Ordaz did in the offseason, and how impressed they were. And he's earned this time because you don't get anything from Steve Cherundolo. It's just not – doesn't matter what your name is, who you are, where you're not getting anything from Cherundolo. You have to earn it. And this coaching staff. And rightfully so. And he had to go do that because, let's be honest, this is a kind of make or break year in a way for a player his age coming into like that third look. He hasn't had a lot of time again. It's not like he's had 100 games, but this is like where you've been around us for a while now. What are you going to do here? What kind of player are you potentially going to be? Again, not the finished product. You know what I mean? Like there's a time for every athlete, not just soccer, not just our sport, but especially soccer. Look, they're starting them younger and younger. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. And that's going to continue in the United States. It wasn't for a long time in MLS necessarily because we still relied heavily on college many years ago in MLS, kind of the college system, and guys were coming out. Yeah, you'd go sign some younger players, but nobody was going to get a 19-year-old from Spain or, a 19-year-old from Venezuela. That wasn't happening in MLS 1.0 when you and I started watching this league. It wasn't possible. Now you've got guys. I mean, you have to be ready to play. Like if you're old enough and if you're good enough, you're going to play, and it doesn't matter how old you are in a sense. Like if you're, we've seen 15-year-olds get time but they don't get a lot of it, and you do have to improve, and that's what Ordaz was. Such a big year in a sense because we've had a good look at him as an organization, right? Like. You were starting to know what he was talent-wise. We always kind of knew he had that, and it was improving, but you had to see where he was going to be in the offseason. And it's so funny, Mario, that the offseason was maybe more important than the entire season last year for Ordaz. This offseason.
For the good
that's
players,
the crossroads. Yeah, that's
they
the
know
crossroads.
How important it is. Yeah, you got to
work the right road. He took the high road. He went the high road and worked his tail off.
There's been a golden rule here for 2025 so far, and it's actually still standing, after week after week after week. After the leg one here, win over Miami. Actually, I think we should call it the black and golden rule. That's what I call it. The black and golden rule. When LAFC score first in 2025, they win. So far they have conceded, when they concede first, they lose. So it's all about who scores first. And I thought that was a key for this match going into BMO Stadium for the first leg. And LAFC did score first, and they were able to hold that lead and win the game. We know it's just the first 90 minutes. It's kind of like halftime right now. But hopefully, this rule stands and, it comes true to where LAFC does protect this lead and bunker down and get another goal out there, because I think LAFC will need to get another goal out there in Miami, but also hold it together, defensively.
Well, yeah, it's a good transition now, Mario, to looking ahead to leg two here. And what does that mean? What does this first match mean for leg two? I think what it means is we saw Messi deeply engaged in leg one. He was ready and willing, right?
Yeah.
He and Suarez always are. That's just the bottom line. They're always going to give you 100%. But he also missed a couple free kick opportunities that we talked about that you probably don't want to give him at home, right? In front of that crowd they're going to be fired up. They know they need a score. They know they may need to score multiple goals, potentially, depending on how this goes. And you probably can't give those to them again. What does leg 2 look like at Miami for you, Mario? How does this kind of shape out?
I was going to say Messi isn't really, at his best form right now. I think he's coming off of injury, so he's not really at tip top,
He doesn't have to be at his best, though. He doesn't.
He had those 3 really good free kick opportunities, very close distance, didn't hit those. He didn't really hit those.
Yeah, but over the weekend we saw him score a great goal against Philadelphia, right? So, he doesn't have to be 100% to beat anybody.
Philadelphia's not LAFC's defense. I think,
true.
He's getting better. He's getting there. And I think the fact that he did go the full 90 minutes, coming back from injury, went the full 90 minutes here at BMO Stadium, that shows how much priority right now LAFC has. Actually, Miami has in this match versus LAFC. And the fact that he did go the 90 minutes shows how much respect they have for LAFC, So that first leg, I think it was a blow for blow match with heavyweights, and it's going to be the same in Miami.
But I think you're right too that we can't go into that match hoping for 0-0, right? You'd get through on 0-0, right? We're getting through if we keep it scoreless, but you can't really assume that. That's a 1 in 1,000, I think, opportunity. Not
I
that
really would
LAFC
have liked
can't
one
do
more
it, but
goal. One more goal at home for LAFC is what I really wanted. The chances were there, weren't they, Dave?
They were
Tillman
at the end, yeah.
Had 2 really solid chances. One of them got blocked right there on the goal line. If that one went in, Ordaz actually had some more chances as well to get another goal. But I really liked their performance in that first match. There's still a long way to go. Long way to go. But it's like you said, like we've been saying, this is halftime right now for both clubs. It's a moment to get a breather and kind of reassess and make some adjustments and get healthier. But it's only one goal. It's a 1-goal advantage. Very tough.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right about that. And I think it was a brilliant game plan that was executed to perfection, right? Sometimes the managers and the coaching staff have a great game plan and the players just fall on their face. That happens in sports. Sometimes the players play well, but the game plan wasn't quite right and you still can't get the result. But it worked last night, I think, all to perfection. And there's obviously you can shout out every player who played for LAFC. Nobody played bad.
Yeah.
Everybody played well. They had to get this kind of result, and they did. I got to shout out a couple players. And for reasons that are Eddie Segura takes some grief, right? From fans sometimes. And look, we've pointed out that Eddie needs to, at times, maybe, temper that kind of over exuberance at times, and he made a foul, he committed a foul in a tough spot there that gives up. He played great. Eddie Segura was awesome. And so was Aaron Long, but we kind of unfairly expect that from Aaron Long every game because he just seems to do it. So maybe it's a little unfair, but he was awesome. Igor Jesus, this is a guy who, to me, what a step up. You look, you're embarrassed, let's be honest. You get a second red. Maybe not embarrassed, but you know what I mean? You let your team down early second half of a match. You get a yellow card that really didn't need to. It's a second yellow. So, he's got to be feeling that. He's still only, 21, 20, So, it's a learning opportunity. Oh, by the way, let's go stop Lionel Messi after you just got a red card. You're not going to be able to play in Houston, so this is your match. You can go all 90, whatever. And you're going to have the assignment of stopping Lionel Messi and Luis Suarez and this offense. And he played tremendous. This is the best match I've seen Igor Jesus play.
Yeah, he came in with that mentality where he knew he wasn't going to play at Houston, right, because of that red card. So that gives him an extra motivation, extra push that I can give it my all in this.
Run your rear off. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Give it all I got. Leave it all out there. And plus, maybe he's not too happy. Like you were saying, he's probably not too happy with his performance in those double yellows. So, hey, let me make up for that. Let me make up for that and go out there and try to stop Messi. Do my best to get us this win here at BMO Stadium. Make up for that. So, I agree.
I thought that was brilliant. Just a bounce back, too, in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
Not that I expected him to play badly or anything, but just so good coming off of that, that disappointment, if you will. That's a mental thing, too, and really impressive. Really impressive.
Let me tell you one thing about about Messi, though, about seeing him, in person again, because we've seen him
Yeah.
a couple times now at BMO Stadium, and just, of course, you take it all in, and I caught myself just appreciating, the greatness of him and watching him do his thing and how he just walks around, of course, and all of a sudden gets the ball at his feet, and he is off and running like he's super, super fast when he gets that ball and turns.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that opponents can't touch him. I mean, they cannot even touch him without getting a call, like getting the foul call. And I know he probably deserves that. He's probably earned that. But wow, it's like almost laughable sometimes, because I went down to the pitch around the 75th minute is when I went down to the pitch. I was pitch side, and Marky Delgado kind of got close to him around outside the box, and I swear it was right in front of me. I swear he did not touch him. He goes down, whistle, free kick right there just outside the box. I just could not believe. All I could do is just laugh about it, because if you don't laugh, you'll cry, right? So,
Well, sometimes
I guess he's earned that.
Maybe he's too quick for the referees too. I mean, I don't say that lightly, right? His movements and everything, like maybe it's hard to ref, with Messi. He's a little more, diminutive, if you will. So guys are seemingly bigger, a lot of guys are bigger than him and pushing him around and trying to, quite frankly, that's the history of the game on some level. Pele, Maradona, Messi, they all get hacked, along the way and big time. So maybe on some level, referees are either a little behind the play because he's that quick and that fast, which you're absolutely right about that. Oh my gosh. It's not even the speed, which is still there at his age.
Yeah.
The quickness is still there. Like that's
burst,
what's so amazing. Yeah. The burst, and he's just quicker than everybody too. Not only is he more skilled, he's just unbelievable. I mean, again, I've said it a million times. Anybody who's a faithful LAFC Plus listener or watches us on YouTube, you know what I'm about to say. But I really feel bad for you if you're a soccer fan who's not taking every opportunity to watch this guy. I don't care what team you're a fan of. I don't care if you're, like, oh, he's not in Europe anymore. I'm a Euro, fan. What are you doing? Like, as great as he is, the opportunities are limited as years go on, right? He's not 28 anymore. Like, just put your pride away, put your hate for a league, or whatever it is. Like, just go watch him. I mean, it's insane. He's just on a different level still. And, LAFC were able to just do that kind of job. They took their game up to another level to win 1-0 in the first leg. So can Messi be stopped for 180 minutes? That's the question of the rest of the series.
We know LAFC
right?
know how to take care of a lead,
Absolutely.
right? They know how to take care of a lead. They know how to suffer better than any other club in MLS. We hear Cherundolo talking about that. We hear the players talking about that, knowing how to suffer and protect the lead. But 90 more minutes is a long time to defend. It's a 1-0 lead. So how does that change the game plan? Does it change the game plan? It's very interesting in these two-leg series.
Well, if you're looking at it after the first leg and into this leg, everything, we all know what's on the line and where we're at, 1-0. We've seen the first 90 minutes. If there's one team in MLS that can stop Messi for another 90 minutes, even on his home pitch, I don't suspect he'll play over the weekend. They have a Sunday match against TFC. Maybe he will. I don't know. I have no inside information, but let's say he's just, flying and ready to go. If there's one team in MLS that can do it defensively, it's LAFC first. Right? Now, there's some other great defenses in MLS, but the way LAFC play and the way they attack opponents' offenses and how they're structured with Steve Denholm, this is the team that could do it above all else. And so if you're a fan of wanting to see Inter Miami get dumped out of this tournament and you want it to be from an MLS side, this is the opportunity here. Because I'm sorry, Vancouver, you're not stopping Lionel Messi if he gets by LAFC or Pumas. Sorry, you guys are good luck. This is the team. If you don't want Messi, if you're a Ronaldo fan and you don't want Messi winning the CONCACAF Champions Cup, the final is going to be a one-off. That could always be different, against a great team, whoever gets there. But if you want it done by an MLS side, you're going to have to call LAFC. That's the team that can do it. Doesn't mean they're going to. We still got a tough job ahead of us. But, I love where we're at, Mario. Just a great just a great night, just a great game. I felt good. Just fun to call. It was really actually a very intriguing, kind of chess match. I was nervous. I was miserable, but I was loving it.
My palms were sweaty. That was incredible. Just to be in that type of atmosphere. It really is an impressive atmosphere when Messi is in the building. He just walks in and everybody's phones go up, start recording them. I mean, in the warm-ups, I was telling you, he's warming up and he's taking shots on goal. And if he scores, the crowd goes crazy in warm-ups. It's like, are you serious? Yeah. But that's what it is. That's the experience of going to a Messi match and witnessing that type of greatness. But LAFC do have a tough road ahead, because there is that Houston game. There's that Houston game.
Here we go. That's what we're just about to get to.
There's so much focus. There's so much focus on the Wednesday match again at Miami, So, but I think Houston, it's going to be a tricky match because they're not really in good form right now, to start
they're
off
awful.
This 2025 campaign.
They're awful. And it's mostly injuries, frankly. It's not really. And now they got, they made some big shifts in the offseason. They've brought in a couple of guys who may not be available even, like one of them, I think. But they've tried to sign some new guys even like within the last week or so. And they're 0-4-2, winless at home, no points now. They're 0-3 at home, which is usually not the case.
Awful.
That's why they're struggling. So but it's injuries. It's not, the Dynamo are not this bad. We know this from this team. They've given us nothing but heck. So a lot of times, over the last few years. So it's still going to be tricky because they're going to be like thinking like, what, we can take something from LAFC. They got one eye on Miami coming up. That's the bottom line. Whether we do or not.
Point, Dave. They will be extra motivated for this one because they could see LAFC are
this
thinking
is their Champions Cup final.
Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, they're thinking that we're catching LAFC at the perfect time on the schedule. We know LAFC do have their focus on Inter Miami in the quarterfinal of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But this match is just right there, sandwiched right there in between those two legs.
Look, again, LAFC, you go down their bench and it's ridiculous. They had 11 men on the bench last night. It's just unbelievable depth. Okay, so when we talk about rotating, I mean, we've seen our quote unquote bench or rotation team go into places during the regular season when other guys needed rest and just play one of the best games of the year, frankly. In the last few seasons. From guys where we were like, okay, we're rotating, we're just one eye on something else. But Mario, I mean, maybe it's an opportunity. Marlon got in the game last night. Coming back from an injury. Maybe you schedule him to start for 60 minutes. Maybe he can't go 90 yet, but, maybe there is some rotation there because I think if you're Steve Cherundolo, I mean, if I'm Steve, I got to be loving the first 11 that played at BMO, last night. So probably want to, bring that back on next Wednesday against Miami again. Maybe a little tweak here and there, but maybe it's time for a Wabowo to get his first start in MLS. Or
there's so many options. So many.
Maybe Smoliakov wasn't used last night. Maybe they're keeping him fresh to get the start against maybe Nkose Tafari. We didn't see him get any minutes last night. Maybe he gets the full. He's been playing a lot in MLS. So I mean, you're right. He's going back to Texas for Tafari, certainly to battle his former rival. So, but again, those guys are perfectly capable of doing exactly what LAFC did last night. So it's going to be interesting. I think Houston they're not this bad. Let's just put it that way. Let's hope we're catching them at a good time because they are struggling. And you can catch that game coming up 5:00 Pacific on 710 ESPN and the ESPN app. We'll have the call. I'll have the pregame at 5, and then I'll have the call at 5:30. LAFC at Houston.
LAFC will travel to Houston on Friday for this match. And then after that match, the team is going to head straight to Florida. From Houston to Florida. They're going to prepare out there, prepare the game plan, prepare the match, and get acclimated to the weather, the time, and everything. So they'll be ready for that leg 2, which is a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. That is a very good thing. And I'm checking the weather out here. I'm just going to get on my app here real quick for Houston. Now, again, we're a couple days away, but thunderstorms, potential, a little bit of rough weather earlier in the day, so maybe it'll kind of clear out. Houston's kind of like Florida in the sense that maybe not quite as bad. Houston, the weather changes every 10 minutes, just so you never quite know what's going on. I shouldn't even look days in advance. It doesn't really matter. It could be.
We've had a few
different.
Delayed games against Houston
In
our history. Yeah.
The ironic part that Mario's talking about, another little insight here, if you don't know the history of LAFC, yes, we've had some delays in Houston. We also had the delay at LA against Houston. Ironically, they brought the weather with them, it seemed. We had that nasty rain, and oh my goodness, that weather that night. And that was ironically against Houston, but in our place, which, you would think in LA that's going to happen once every blue moon. So I guess it did, but it happened to be against
Carlos
Houston.
Vela hit the game winner in that one, all drenched in rain. I remember that night.
Man.
But yeah, Houston, they have some familiar faces. Nicholas Lodero's over there. We know him from his long time with Seattle Sounders and all those battles that LAFC has had with him. They also have former LAFC defender Francisco Escobar, who is talented and just plays with all the passion in the world.
Scored against us.
And he just scored. Yeah, he scored against us. He just scored over the weekend in Portland, although that was a very bad loss for Houston in Portland. 3-1 loss on the road in Portland in the rain also. But yeah, they made the Timbers look like Barcelona out there. So I mean, Dynamo is struggling, Dave. They're struggling.
Yeah.
So.
Let's hope we don't make them look. Let's hope we don't make them well, if you will. But as Mario's and I were talking about,
maybe they are the perfect opponent. Maybe they are the perfect opponent for us who are about to, focus on Miami right in the middle of those two legs. Maybe they're the perfect opponent for LAFC.
Fingers crossed. Here we go. Look, we're only going to preview one MLS match this weekend because we also want to talk briefly about Sporting Kansas City makes the second managerial change of MLS already this season.
Yeah.
Speaking of a team that's struggling, I mean, they haven't won a match in MLS play since September. And, it didn't seem to be getting any better. Peter Vermees and the club agreed to mutually part ways. Vermees has been there for most of your adult life, no matter who you are, unless you're my grandfather. He's been in charge of Sporting Kansas City on some level for, a lot of people who, before they were born, that are listening to this show, quite literally. So it is history in a sense. He's been a legend in MLS, no doubt. If there was an MLS-specific Hall of Fame, Peter Vermees would be getting in when he retires. But he is gone now. There's a new era for SKC. This is why I wanted to highlight this game, Mario. Not because, Sporting Kansas City, I don't expect them to make some crazy turnaround, but they're taking on their rival.
Yeah.
St. Louis right away. The first match under interim manager Kerry Zavagnin. It's kind of interesting timing in a sense. You're at home, your rivals coming in. Maybe it's a chance. They talked a little bit about it, reigniting the season, sparking something maybe. Again, long way to go. I mean, we've seen Sporting Kansas City actually turn things around at times under Peter Vermees, having a bad start. So I'm not, you can't write anybody off right now, but maybe it does ignite something because, St. Louis City's not exactly ripping teams to shreds either. So it might be a good opportunity, kind of interesting timing, right? You're playing your bitter rival, even though it's, kind of early in that rivalry. It's already off to a hot start with an interim coach. Maybe you get that interim coach bump and get things going a little bit.
Remember now, St. Louis, when they had that incredible first place run in their expansion year in 2023, they got bumped out of the playoffs in that first round by Sporting KC. So they remember that.
Snuck in after a terrible start to the season. Remember, they were didn't Sporting Kansas City, they didn't win they didn't get a win in their first 8, 9, 10 games of the MLS season and still vaulted up, snuck into the playoffs, and then they beat the number. That's right. They beat the number one seed, their rival.
It's a big rivalry game for both sides. It's a big one, of course. But there's change. There's a lot of change going on at Sporting KC, as you said, interim head coach. And honestly, there's some breaking news, Dave. I don't know if you saw this, but as we were preparing for this podcast, breaking news out of KC, goalkeeper Tim Melia announced his retirement.
Yes.
So he's not in there
Another
as well.
legend.
And he's been there with the club for over 10 years, I believe. I mean, close to 15 years probably.
I remember I was doing the notes. I do, individual player notes for games when they're coming up. This is a couple years ago already. Yeah. And maybe it wasn't even that long, but I remember thinking, oh, Tim Melia, boy, it seems like he's been around a little bit. I was thinking, he's probably 30 now, 31. He's 36 at the time. I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's been around forever with Sporting. He's a legend, he was the
solid penalty kick stopper. That's was his specialty. Yeah,
had some great moments in between the pipes. So we wish him all the best in retirement. But
But there's been a
just
lot of goals in this
changes.
rivalry. A lot of goals in this rivalry. They played each other 8 times, and in those 8 times, like over 30 goals within just 8 games. So they averaged
That's
like 4
LAFC, LA
goals.
Galaxy like there with the scoring. Those
Yeah,
rivalry
this
games,
rivalry
right?
averages 4 goals a game, so it'll
Wow.
be good. There's going to be goals to fly in this one.
Yeah, so I'm going to be keeping my eye on that match, no doubt about it. But of course, LAFC at Houston Saturday, airtime 5 p.m. Pacific. I'll have the pregame call coming up a little after 5:30 on 710 ESPN and the great ESPN LA app. Just click on that button. I know a lot of people who do, and we appreciate all of you. Mario, it's episode 49 in the books. Wow. Hopefully we'll have something, still working on something for episode 50. I can't believe we're there.
Big 5-0
next
is next, Dave. Yes,
Yeah.
LAFC plus Big 5-0. That's awesome.
Absolutely. So we're
I'm
excited
proud
for
of
that. Thanks to everybody who's been watching. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend if you like us. If you hate the show, tell your enemy to listen. Then he can suffer along with you, maybe. But Mario, take us out of here. Great job, brother. As always, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you too, Dave. This schedule just keeps on rolling here for LAFC this Saturday, like you said, in Houston. Join us on 710 ESPN, the ESPN LA app. But make sure you check out the 30-minute pregame that we have on ESPN LA 710 on the ESPN LA app, because we have a lot of good insight there. I mean, you do a great pregame show. I have some one-on-one interviews, exclusive one-on-one interviews with Steve Tarundolo and some players. So if you guys are wanting to get pumped up for the match, check out the pregame show and also the postgame show. We go another 30 minutes on the postgame show, so make sure you check us out. This Saturday at 5 p.m. Catch us there, and then also we'll catch you on the next episode of LAFC Plus. That's Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Ruiz. Peace. Go black and gold.
Go.